Hey everyone, this is Robert, and welcome to the Solomon Shrine Podcast. Today's special guest, or dare I say, victim, is Michaela Laws.
Where did I come from? Like, how did I get here? Oh no!
So yeah, in case you haven't noticed, it's summertime. I'm all dressed up for the occasion. I'm got to cosplay my boy William once again, and we see
Yeah.
here Michaela is out and about. She's in paradise, as you
Oh
can.
yeah. Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
we're going to be talking a lot of pretty fun topics for today. So thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful Solomon Shrine podcast with me. And yeah, how are you doing on this lovely Tuesday afternoon?
I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm really excited to be here. Especially since we've been talking about Solomon Shrine for a long period of time, like the audition process, the
Oh my
workings
God,
behind the
yeah.
project. It's been so long in the making that finally being able to like have a cast out, get progress going, it's just been a really exciting prospect. So thank you for first of all for working with me, and my fantastic team. So yeah.
I know, yeah. I remember coming to you like, "Hey, I have this really fun little thing going on, and I was wondering if you want to help me just cast it." And yeah, oh, and for those that are unaware, the lovely Michaela here was the casting director. We kind of went through the process of the casting doc and did all of the boring stuff, but hey, we found our cast. Amen.
Yeah,
I'm just
and they're
kidding.
so good. It's a fun, wonderful cast that you've picked. Well, we
I
picked,
know,
but nonetheless,
yeah.
we picked.
I'm sorry.
Like we picked, but you picked. So,
Yeah, it's pretty much like it was just kind of, unanimous. Like our top choices are pretty much in sync, which
oh yeah.
never happens.
Well, I had full faith that at least with my roster and the people that were coming in, we would had a gambit of fantastic talents. And so, in order to make sure that your characters got the full like weight of their voices behind them, I had to definitely go through the fine tooth comb, make sure you get the best options. And I think the cast that you chose, fantastic and perfect, in my opinion.
I know, yeah. It's just like I am so excited because look, we have a couple of actors that have worked on, Digital Circus, Lackadaisy, and a lot of different anime, Nokotan. So yeah, we pretty much got ourselves an all-star cast, if I do say so myself, and not even including like the supporting and additional voices, which is its own, you know, level of amazing in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right on. So we'll discuss a little bit about the Solomon Shrine in just a little bit, but yeah, I just wanted to know from you, how is 2025 been for you so far?
Oh, 2025 has just been crazy hectic. I know that I,
Yeah.
a lot of blessings have come my way, and while they are indeed blessings, and I will thank God and thank every sort of like deity in the sky that I've had these opportunities, it's a lot of work. So, with multiple clients to report to and with multiple projects being a part of, I feel while while it is a lot of work, it's worth every single bit to help a lot of characters grow, a lot of talents be able to show themselves off, and essentially, because of the unique position I'm in, be a stepping stone between, like, first starting beginners to reaching those professional heights. So I would say that it's been very, very good for me thus far. How about you? How's 2025 been for you, friend?
Um, well, right now I mean, it's kind of been a long time coming, but we are protesting here in LA, and it's just
Yeah.
been a pretty wild time. But yeah, I'm doing pretty okay, like just trying to keep up to date and not trying to overwhelm myself with all the news that is going on. But yeah, just keep on the good fight, and I'm glad that um things seem to be doing somewhat okay when it comes to the
Yeah.
protests and stuff. But other than that, just came back from a convention. I went to NostalgiaCon here in Anaheim, and
Nice.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I finally got to meet people like Tom Kenny, Rob Paulson. I have autograph signatures over there that I would dash right over and grab.
Lucky. Oh, I'm so jealous. How dare.
Dude, yeah, like the guest list was insane. Dude, I'm talking like Avatar, SpongeBob, Rugrat, like pretty much a lot of those Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network shows we grew up with. Like, if you watch all of these shows, there's a good chance that an actor, voice actor, is probably going to be there. And if you've seen like Ninja Turtles, that stuff, there's a good chance you that they might be there too. So yeah, it when I say that the guest list was insane, I really mean it. It's kind of like Comic Con variations of like how many guests are gonna be here? Like different variety of all sorts of people that we're just gonna pull from um different areas of our childhood and then just bring it all in one place. So that's pretty much how it went. And yeah, even though I went for a few hours, the post con just the and vacay, the little bit of the blues or sadness is still kind of hitting me, but I'm just really
Oh,
excited to do this today,
yeah.
just to pull me out and not just be stuck in the, oh my God, I wish it. Yeah. Why is it over just already, man? But
Yeah.
yeah, I know. But other than that, just a lot going on personally, and of course, I'm just all hands on deck with Solomon and also another different project. So just managing two different ones at the same time is like, oof. And on top of keeping up with auditions, which procrastinators unite.
Oh yeah, especially the new season of auditions coming up, like everyone's on top of it.
Oh
It's like, oh my
God.
God, so many new indie products, and now, especially with SAG-AFTRA now agreeing to for a tentative
Yes. Oh
interim
my
agreement.
gosh. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes. Yes.
so
Yes.
good. We're hoping that some of the loopholes haven't closed, but again, they haven't released all of the details of the tentative agreement. But finally, be able to have SAG-AFTRA actors feel more secure with doing auditions for projects and be able to announce the things that they were in finally. So yeah.
Yeah, so how's that for good news after a crazy weekend? So
Oh
I'm
my
pretty sure all of
God.
us, yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, LA, I think that's probably the best news that we could have received, in the midst of all this craziness that is still going on right
absolutely.
now.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I know you don't want us to talk about politics, but trust me that there's a lot of different stuff out there that is, if you want to get your fix on politics, this is not the podcast. So today we're just going to be discussing the project, VTubing, VO, and just the fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Get away from reality for a little bit. Come join the world of fiction where everything is completely like pink and roses.
Yeah, and also we can discuss trauma, which that's kind of one of the themes of my that's one of the themes of my show. Oh my goodness.
Oh, but we love it though. We love when we're able to kind of like put like a lot of ourselves into our work. So like that's the best kind of art in my opinion.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, like, I was just doing the episode with my co-writer Kayla Temshiv. Love ya. Just want to give you a shout out. And we were just talking a lot about the whole writing process and whatnot. But before and I promise we'll get to it because I know it's Solomon Shrine. But yeah, I kind of wanted to know a little bit about you because I know some of your background, but I was kind of curious as to how, the whole creative bug with everything that you've been doing right now. Where did it all begin for you?
Oh no. We'd have to go all the way back to my childhood. Oh
Yeah, we
no.
got to get to the boring stuff.
Oh no. Oh my God. I was a boring little nerdy kid that like pretty much like I was daddy's little girl, and he was a big storyteller in my life. And so everything that he wanted to do, he wanted to tell stories himself. And now he's a professional writer. Well, I think he's more of like a self-published indie writer. But ever since I was growing up, he would tell me stories, tell me to always be creative, always take inspiration from everything, enjoy the world around me rather than just kind of look at everything through a glass. And so I started just writing little fan fictions, little like short stories with all my friends, and it just continued to grow and grow. And then with my acting classes, because I natural performer coming out of the womb singing and singing as soon as I popped out. I took a lot of private lessons in singing, acting, and dance. So I was already just drowning in the world of creativity growing up, all the way up until college, where I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to be a voice actor because I physically was not comfortable with how I looked for to be on stage. Um, but voice acting allowed me to have my acting prowess. And then with my writing side, I really dove in my senior year with Seduce Me the Otome, and made my first Otome game, which people still play to this day, which is freaking nuts. And it just kind of shot up from there where I was just it became from making video games to writing ASMR with Kapadas voices, and then working on Project Melody and Neptune Worlds as a dating simulation writer. And now I also do freelance voice acting for a bunch of companies. Some I can't even name right now because I'm under NDA. Yeah.
We just, yeah, just gotta love those good old NDAs.
Yeah, obviously. I want to talk about things. I can't talk about things.
Yeah, it's like I want to talk about it, but I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, trust me, look, as somebody who has been in the game for like almost close to 8 years now, good golly, man. Good grief.
Absolutely.
But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it's like, yeah, as somebody who has been in this for about a while, I already know that it's like, look, I really wanted to disclose, like, and that's also something that I wanted to discuss when we get to the probably the thing that you've tuned in for. But it's like when you have NDAs, it's like, I mean, it's good because you practice discipline and, just patience, but at the same time, it's like, I want to talk about it now.
Oh yeah, like it also helps like because with NDAs is also not only to protect the project, it's also to protect like a lot of Stormy fans are like, oh my god, who's involved? Oh my god, all of this stuff, and just raising the hype over and over and over. And it doesn't help that the hype just makes you want to like, I want to talk about it so badly. Please, I see all the work, I see the fan art, I see the theories. Please let me talk about it. But it's like, it's built hype and it's so good.
Oh, yeah. Well, luckily, though, I haven't, had too many of those NDA breaking. Whether it's like, if it's on a project that I'm on, or if I'm, working with other folks, or even including my own. So I haven't had many of those. I haven't had any incidents where, loose lips sink chips. And I'm praying that it stays that way.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, there have been a couple times where people have clocked when I'm in something, and I'm just like, I can't say anything. They clocked because they know they hear my voice, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be the one to say it. I am not going to be the one to break this NDA.
Yeah, imagine just having like the ultimate crash out moment and just being like, okay, so this is what happens. This is what it did. And, yeah.
Oh, I've had that so many times. It's so good.
The
It's just
best.
relief.
Yeah, the best voice actor, just victory, and also a huge crash out after just holding it in for so long. It just has to explode eventually.
Oh yeah, I remember when like Kira Buckland was talking about how she was Jolene in JoJo.
Oh my
The
God,
biggest
yeah.
explosion of the like the universe that happened because that was a dream role of hers, and so every one of us just like, oh my god, and it was like you could hear every like the freaking ground quake from how excited everyone was finally that she got to announce it.
Oh no, I just still can't believe it. It's just in this universe, Kira actually is Jolene and JoJo. That is like, I mean, she did. I think she was another character before it. I can't. I I know that she. I mean, her favorite color, one of her favorite colors is pink. So whoop-de-doo. But and she also plays a lot of pink hair, which, I mean, look. Yeah, we just love the color pink. Let's just be real. But yeah, I think she played another character before Jolene, and then she booked it, and it's like, oh my gosh, what? Yo, let's
Perfect.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is just insane. Oh man, I still remember that announcement like it was yesterday.
Oh yeah, like we love it when actors get to finally just scream to the heavens of happiness. We love it.
I know, yeah. But speaking of which, what would you say were some of the, because I know that you're kind of well known for a lot of different projects, so what would you say are the ones that you hold near and dear to your heart?
Well, well, obviously, it's gonna be Seduce Me first and foremost because that's my project, that's my baby. Voicing Diana, the gigantic succubus that people fell in love with, is a fantastic call on whenever I get to tease my friends about it or tease fans, adult fans, mind you. And then I would say two of the latest two for me have been Sylvana from Aphmau's Catface. So she gets to voice it's a mother role. It's just a fantastic situation kind of be where you see a complex mother character going through essentially raising a daughter on her own and trying not to force a lot of expectation, but at the same time there's a comedic aspect of like chasing the boys away, like you're not dating my daughter and all that fun bits. And then I guess like the other one would be Lynetta from Sucker for Love. Being an eldritch goddess is just a fantastic like dream for me, and to get to be the avatar of Cthulhu is like yes, let me be Cthulhu. But you find out that she's more of just this very loving, almost slightly yandere type of character. Um, very complex emotionally, loves humanity, and yet is the eldritch being that threatens their lives. And it's oh, those three characters I think are the closest to me. But that isn't to say I don't love all the characters I voice. I voice in like Gunvolt. I voice in, oh my god, Bad Summer, which is has a demo out now. It's just there's a lot of roles that I really love, but I think those three are the closest to me. So.
Yeah, right on. Because I know that you've done so much, it's just going to be impossible. We're just kind of scratching the surface, pretty much.
And then there's still some roles I have yet to announce.
Yep, that too. But so yeah, I've always wanted to know from you, what were some of the, like when it comes to media, what would you say were very inspirational and left a profound impact on you and made you want to create?
I think it's because I grew up learning how to read from my mom placing me in front of the TV while she was playing Final Fantasy and me reading the dialogue from Final Fantasy. So video games and anime have been a large part of my life because my family is a big nerdy family. And so if we're not playing video games, we're watching anime. If we're not watching anime, we're watching some big franchise movie to kind of highlight fantasy. Like I was literally pulled out of school to go watch The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. It's just like, yeah, there's a family emergency. What's a family emergency? We're going to the movies, honey. But I think the biggest inspirations have been other creatives. Like to this day, my idol for voice acting is Laura Bailey. And the fact that she continues to continue working, doing what she loves, I think just continues to inspire me. Like, it doesn't matter if you start at age 5 or 50. If you love it, you get into it, you start it, you enjoy it, and you don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're like, not old enough, you're not this enough, you're not that enough. Don't matter. Do what you love, and the work will come to you, and the creativity will come to you.
Yeah, that's a pretty good takeaway. And also, you got a family emergency. That's the family emergency I could get behind, like for straight up.
Oh, yeah. Like, oh, my sister and I were panicked. Like, what do you mean, family emergency?
What
We're in
happened?
trouble. Or we're going to the movies, honey. Oh, okay. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, have fun with your science lesson, nerds. I'm going to the movies. Bye, Lord of the Rings.
Science. I'm gonna go fantasy.
Yeah, forget science. Let's go fantasy. Yeet.
Yeet.
Yeah, but for me, I know I've said this a few times, but growing up, I was kind of like a comedic type of dude. So, which is, you know, I wanted to do Solomon because as a way to like challenge myself if exploring more of like the mystery, the psychological thriller aspect of the series. And but no, growing up, it was always like I was saying before, Nickelodeon, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Rugrats, Ed and Eddie, and Dexter for Cartoon Network. Just a lot of the comedic comedy shows that I used to watch. Phineas and Ferb was another one. But as I got older, series like Batman, the animated series, Avatar, what else? What else? Ooh. Those are kind of like the big two that are coming to my mind when it comes to like, and I know I mentioned Tom Kenny and Rob Paulson and just people that I've met over the weekend. So Animaniacs, Darkwing Duck, meeting Jim Cummings was such a glorious. Like just seeing a lot of the people that I grew up with and just seeing them all in one place was just a trip to me. Like I still cannot believe it. Like, Great Griffin, Azula from Avatar, and so many people that I literally I was I was just sitting in front of my TV like you, just hearing all of these different actors and characters, and then just meeting them in person after all this time, like closer to 20-ish something years later. It's just it's really awesome. And also getting to work with a lot of the people that you grew up listening to. I mean, look at me. It's just also kind of like it's its own special kind of rewarding. And I just really wouldn't trade it for anything else. So that was those are the stuff that kind of is a main influence on me. So And I'll also say some more in a little bit, but I also wanted to know from you, what was something that really helped you a lot as a storyteller from just juggling all these different hats that you're doing now?
I think trying basically trial and error for me. Because I had a hard time saying no at the very beginning of my career because it was always that, oh yeah, new opportunity, new opportunity, new opportunity. And I was just going, yes, 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 yes. But then it's starting to realize that putting things either in like an order of a schedule or putting things in matter of like how much workload is this going to take of my life versus another thing has really put into perspective like things that where I can kind of Tetris things together. So where I can get a good amount of sleep and I could have some time for food. But with balancing everything creatively, it's a matter of just allotting a good amount of time. And I know it's for me it's kind of difficult because I have brain fog and I have I have some physical disabilities and mental disabilities as well. It's about really just kind of barreling down 10 foot 10 foot toes down, just making sure that what you're putting in is 100% of you each time, but not putting 100% of you every time. So it's that way you don't burn out.
Yeah. And that kind of segues to the next question a bit, because you mentioned putting some of your part of yourself into your art. So what would you say are some of the positive takeaways that have helped you when it comes to putting, like translating life into your own work?
Yeah, I think, well, on the writing side, I've been able to kind of explore more of myself. I don't want to get in too deep about it because I don't want this podcast to get darker than it needs to be. But like for me, I'm a survivor of SA. So there are some works that I do that actually address SA as part of, or like even just sexuality or sex in like a very heavy tone. So for me, being able to kind of talk about it and be able to continuously be able to look at it through a writer or a creator lens puts into perspective a lot of things that happened and also helps me kind of cart- carpen- compartmentalize it in my head rather than letting it kind of hang over me like some sort of shadow. And so putting myself in those positions, because I have been put in positions where I was like a victim or I was like put into a precarious situation for voice acting in that kind of scenario, I can learn to separate myself from what had happened and understand that it wasn't my fault and that these characters are going through it and it's my job to help them be alive enough to handle it and survive it. So it's been very therapeutic for me on a writing perspective, and then on an acting perspective it's almost tenfold because you're in those shoes, you're in the character's shoes, we're going through all of these emotions, going through all of this trauma. And for me, I can't speak for any other actor, but like for me, it's freeing to be able to explore that, really let go. There, if I need to scream, I can scream. If I can cry, I can cry, and it's always an avenue of just being able to open myself back up and rewire myself to be like, it's okay, everything is okay. This is a valid experience that you can let go of and that you can just release creatively. So yeah.
Yeah. First off, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Um, I just really want to open this up to anybody out there that if you're also going through just some, you know, stuff like, I'm not gonna say the full thing
Hmm.
just for
Yeah.
protection, but
Hmm.
essay or just anything, like just pretty much May last month was, I mean, this month too is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and
Hmm.
I did make a post not too long ago that I there was a place in my life, there was a time where I don't want to say it, but I did contemplate like, would anybody care if I was gone?
Yeah.
And trust me, it's dark. Like when you really put into the dark, when you're in that dark, dark, dark place in, your mind, it's like, this is why I love storytelling, because sometimes you get to place, it's kind of like you were mentioning therapeutic, where you place some of the dark times, like if you're going through like dark thoughts or just even dark moments in your life, and you with the characters that you created, it's like, oh, like this happened to me, and I can share that experience to others as a way of just being like, hey, there's a way to combat this. There's a way to, go through what you went through and, just do it in a positive light. Like you can have characters that are just, they may have a more positive outlook on life and have this one other character that's just kind of being down and jaded. So that's also one of the themes that I have for my project. So that's pretty much all I can really say about it. Because like I said, I don't want to go too like personal on this. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, since I guess just real quick before we actually get to the Solomon, tell us about your VTubing stuff. Yeah, your journey.
Oh my goodness. Well, I started streaming when I started doing game development work for Seducing the Otome back in 2013. And I was just
Wow.
doing game yeah, I was doing game dev streams. I was talking about the game. I was talking about the Kickstarter, the progress behind it. And then I would kind of transition into doing video games on stream, just be like hanging out with my fans and hanging out with supporters. And it kind of grew and grew into where I became almost a full-time streamer on top of doing all of my other freelance work. But I was always camera shy. Because again, I have very low self-esteem. I have very low just opinions about my body and how I look. And I'm still working through that, but it was really, really bad before VTubers became a thing. And then VTubing happened. I saw Q's and I saw Project Melody, and I saw like people were making these anime avatars kind of represent themselves in a way that they could protect themselves visually in real life while also being able to express creatively who they are with essentially art piece. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can give this a shot. And so I downloaded Vroid, which is a 3D VTubing programming model, and I made a character for myself, introduced it to everyone. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're a VTuber now!" And I'm like, yeah, sure." And I just started using it, and it evolved to then essentially this avatar being a representative of my creative muse. So the joke amongst me and my friends is that there are two people within me. There's me, who is like this very nerdy, very gamer girl, very much like traumatized individual who's living in reality. And then there's Storyteller, who is my muse. She is the perfect embodiment of a woman. She is the perfect embodiment of someone who can think very quickly, very creatively, thinks of stories right off the bat and swings the bat at my head at Mach 50 to make sure that I know what she's trying to talk about. And so having her be my avatar in the VTubing world, it just made so much more sense, because that way people saw exactly who I wanted to be in reality. But this avatar is more of just who people deal with when they deal with me creatively. They deal with not me, the awkward, nerdy, fat girl who does too much work for her own good. They deal with this embodiment of art who can pull stories off the top of her hat, write who can write 80,000 words in 2 weeks, who can write all of these ASMR scripts for multiple clients as well as dating scenarios for an SFW game and things like that. So with VTubing, this has become definitely more of me being able to reflect what I want people to see rather than what they already see.
Mm, that that's pretty deep. I didn't really because I'm just kind of like an outs like I know that VTubing has kind of really taken the internet by storm, and I'm just like, mm, it's something that would be fine, but it's always just, oh, I gotta make sure that I'm a perfectionist. I gotta make sure that my model is perfect, or what time I gotta do it, and the timing, always the scheduling, man. Which,
Yeah.
you know, that's why I kind of do full time. I kind of do voiceover, and I'm also doing content creating full time. So yeah, but speaking of that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's finally time that we get on to the main event, like 30 minutes. So
Yeah, the main event.
yeah, the main event. So yeah, coming up next on SmackDown WWE Tuesday.
Here comes with a steel chair.
Here comes the steel chair. Oh, watch out, watch out.
Watch out.
There you go. Coming at you, Sullivan Shrine Live. Back in
Woo!
action. Woo. Okay. But yeah, I guess I might as well, because I talked about it a little bit in another episode, but I might as well just share just how the whole, just this entire thing just kind of came to be, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. I have my popcorn and my soda already.
Okay, yes. So I'm not gonna make this too long, but the idea of this kind of came to me around 2020, go figure, when everything was kind of on lockdown and everybody was just scrambling to find toilet paper. So, um, it kind of goes a little bit further than that. It really was based on, I went to camp and I was on a, trip with my youth group from my church. So we would be at camp and then there would just be these really abandoned old buildings that apparently nobody has really been to in years. So I was like, has anybody ever gone there before? And they were like, I don't know. And yeah, the students and I, we were just kind of got, or well, rather I got curious and just wandering off by myself and just wanted to know what it's all about. So, not the cabin, of course. There were no like, nobody was trapped inside or anything. It was just like, okay, what would happen if, because I would just watch movies where these characters just go through escape rooms, which I watched not too long ago, the movie Escape Room, where they were just kind of have these different personalities and they just kind of have to use their wits and just, yeah, just pretty much use their wits in order to survive. So then I started cooking up. I started, as the cool kids say, cooking with the concept and the story idea. So the characters just all are different facets of my personality. Like William's kind of like the laser focus, Marshall is chill, Adrian is kind of like the theater geek, and Haley is just like the introvert that's like, why? So all of these are kind of very like when you make characters, you kind of put a little bit of yourself into it, but maybe exaggerate it just a little bit. So that's pretty much how the characters came to be. And the villain, like I'm not gonna give away too much because we only just cast like the main guys. So the rest of the characters are also different aspects of my personality, and also a little bit, mostly a lot of Kayla's as well. Both of us just kind of threw our own little twisted ideas, and we just turn it into art. Just make turn childhood trauma into just money. No, I'm kidding. Just art, and sometimes money. Maybe.
I
I
mean,
don't
we
know.
can't get
Yeah.
paid for our art. What are we doing?
Exactly. Yeah, we're paying everybody. So, yay. But yeah, that's kind of like the TLDR of how it came to be. Just, personal camping trip, and also video games like a lot of Zelda, Gravity Falls, like just some of the Netflix series that I would be watching. And then I would just take ideas from that, some of the best ideas, and turn it into make it just pretty much our own thing. Like take influence from something, but not make it like a full-on rip-off per se. Because there is a lot of like Gravity Falls in there, and maybe some of Danny Phantom, some of Kiss Next Door. So just combining the best of the best, and then just plop it all together, and boom, this is pretty much the concept of Solomon Shrine on the surface. There is more on the way, but I don't want to give away. This is what I'm talking about with NDAs. I don't want to give away too many details, if you catch my
Hmm.
drift.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the TLDR of how Solomon Shrine just kind of came to existence. And yeah, we'll discuss more about it in the next part. So if y'all are enjoying this so far, um, continue to stay and survive in the Solomon Shrine on this podcast, and we'll see you all, foolish mortals, in the next part, if you dare. Ta ta,
Bye
lovelies.
bye. Bye bye. Wonderful.
Alrighty, welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, welcome back, victims. So, yeah. But yeah, so I do have a couple of questions that are pertaining to Solomon. So, because I remember reaching out to you, I think it was sometime like last year or I don't know, time. I've lost track of time, but because we were going over just the character designs and the, everything else, like the story scripts and what have you, and yeah, we were just kind of going over a lot of the different stuff about it. So I just wanted to know from you, what was something that you really enjoyed the most from working on this, and what would you like to see more of in the future, if you don't mind me asking?
Absolutely. What you were able to present to me, like I really love this idea of just these kids going through so much, like just to kind of not only just explore like this new frontier of just like mystery and potential horror, but being able to see them grow. I'm a sucker for a good like growing up story. I'm a sucker for a good like if there's a lesson to be learned, let the kids learn it. And so seeing all of like the thought that you've put behind like these characters and how not only are they different, but they experience the world through different sets of eyes is always a fun kind of gamble when you have a bunch of characters in a story like this. How will they work together? How will they be able to get through all these obstacles? And especially with the four main cast, it's definitely a gambit of like because you have so many options. You have like William and Marshall already like going head to head like the introvert versus extrovert, and then you have uh you have Alien Adrian, like, oh my God, you could not have any more opposites of ladies out there. And then you have just even the opposites going in the different genders. You have William and Adrian. Like Adrian is like the more peppy type of like, hey, let's hang out. And then you have William's like, I'm just trying to tell you the truth here. It's really really fun to be able to see the dichotomy of all these characters, not only with each other but as a group. And what I'm excited to see is definitely all of them, and I don't mean this in a sadistic way, I mean this as a growing up lesson, how they are able to handle everything and how they come out of it. Because it's always like, what's the lesson that they're supposed to learn, and did they learn it, or did they learn something else? So that's the fun bit. That's the fun bit of being creative and seeing Solomon like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty much what me and Kayla were discussing about because we had so many different meetings. Like, we would just text all the time. And we finally got to the place where, because you know, in a lot of movies where they really want you to be super immersive, so they decided, oh, let's just traumatize the audience as well alongside with the characters, which I don't necessarily agree with it. But
Hmm.
I mean, look, you're talking to somebody who has watched a little too many Stanley Kubrick movies. So, but yeah, I'm just like, look, and also like, yeah, also don't traumatize your cast members. Ooh, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, but no, I just wanted to be. We wanted to have like a fine line where we can have like characters that just come out of it a lot stronger, and because that's pretty much the whole theme of like pretty much what you were discussing about earlier. It's okay, none of this was my fault. I'm okay. I I've this happened to me and it sucks, but as long as I'm managing and learning how to process all of it, then and especially with the support group, like that's that's a bonus right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I know for me personally, like if there's something like if I was in a bad situation, like how would I then I started thinking like, okay, how would Adrian react if she was stuck in a situation? Like how would William, how would Marshall, Haley? Because these are four very distinctly different characters that have four different viewpoints of the world. So that's one of the some of the most fun is just writing characters that have completely different viewpoints of everything. And one of the main influences that I have when writing these characters is like I said, Kids Next Door and also Gravity Falls and a little bit of Teen Titans because it's like where it's like the five characters, but they each have completely distinct, personalities and they play off of each other and how they interact. So that was something that's been a lot of fun for the both of us when we were writing the you know the lines, and especially when it comes to picking like which ones are going to be the best for the actors to read off of. And I'm just still cannot believe that, yeah, this it's just I've cast for different projects where it's the client's characters, and I would just have to have them read for what fits for the client. But for this one, since this is pretty much my baby, it's like, wow, I can't believe they're reading for this silly little thing that I did. It's just crazy to me.
Oh yes, that's the fun bit though. When you find those perfect actors that understand that it's not just a job. It is you're making something that someone creatively came up come to life in a more authentic and unique way rather than just giving them a voice and walking away with a paycheck. So yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
And what would you say was your favorite aspect of it, whether it's the care? Because I know we're kind of only just now in the beginning phases, but because you were kind of talking about, the four of them, but what is something else that you really enjoyed just so far?
Um, I would, I guess the kind of just the anticipation of what's happening, because mind
Yeah.
you, and this is kind of like I'm pulling the curtain a little bit behind the scenes for everyone here. What we were able to discuss was kind of like the main story, the point of it, and also just how these characters and what they're going to go through. I was not giving any details of like what's going on because I'm sure you're still developing it, which makes sense. So for me, the fun of it has been the anticipation of just these four children and then other characters that we've discussed a little bit in detail, a little bit. Like we haven't cast for them yet, but I'm again not going to pull that side of the curtain, but just being able to have that anticipation of just like, oh gosh, how are they going to just handle everything? And it's great as a creative person and as a fan when you're able to sit there and be just like you want to root for them so hard, you want to be able to like please get through what you want to get through, please come out and be better.
I also love the audience to second guess. That's the fun part. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, wow, that was a lot easier. Nope.
Nope.
Yep, nope. Ha, lol, no. They ain't surviving. Well, yeah, like I said, yeah, oh my gosh, there's a couple of scenes that, oh man, because I know that we've cast the main actors, but I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited for them to see what we've been cooking up because man, it's just like we were just like as I was mentioning on the Kayla Timshift podcast, it's like I'm like the proud daddy and she's kind of like the proud, I guess, aunt or something. Yeah, or they're like the proud, like, family member. We're just both like really proud parents of just seeing these raising these children and then have them go through HELL, if you get my drift.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And also one other thing too, I also like taking a lot of influence from like because I'm not really like a horror type of guy, but like I said, Stanley Kubrick, just the psychological like horror thriller aspect is just always so fun for me. So I'm like, how would they react if they're stuck in a shrine, but there's like no way out, or they just have to resort to crazy methods. Like, how long will it be before they start going insane? I mean, I just really think it's kind of like a test. Like, how far are we really willing to push these guys,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say working on this helped you gain a better vision on how, I guess, my whole thought process? Because I know we kind of only mainly worked with casting and what have you, but yeah, just tell a little bit about how, the casting process went as well as it did. We were
Absolutely.
able to just secure those perfect actors.
Well, when Robert appeared to me, when you appeared to me, I should talk like this to you rather than like having
Yeah,
to make sure
Rabbit
the
appeared.
audience is there. If Robert appeared.
The when Rabbit appeared to me,
So when you appeared, and you presented all
I
these
appeared from the
characters,
shadows. That's what
and
happened.
just like, why? What'd you get in my room? But when you came up and gave me these ideas and what you wanted for these characters, I had to make sure that with my casting roster, I always try to make sure that everyone is giving top-notch auditions. So when I work with a client in terms of casting, I always try to filter out like if someone has a really shitty take or like a really bad mic, I'm like, okay, nope, this is not for the character. Nope, nope. So that way, I present you essentially Robert or whoever I'm working with the top actors who would be fitting in. And I not only do that based on technical quality to make sure that your audio engineer doesn't kill you or you don't kill me. It's just making sure that you get the best talent for the project. So when I presented all of these options, I was like, okay, I can give you the entire roster just hands down without any sort of filtering. And then I can also give the top selections that I would think would be best for these roles. And that requires me to really kind of dive into William, Marshall, Adrian, Haley, and make sure that I know not only are they very separate characters, but also different vocal profiles, different experiences in their vocal tones and in their words, and making sure that the actors who come in really show that they're not just, oh, we're just auditioning for another thing. It's no, they're coming in to try and be and represent these characters properly. So with the cast being announced of who they are, I was very thrilled knowing that like Sean and Belle and Diana and oh my god and Trina and everyone who is involved is like, and even the extras who were like selected as part of like the callback process, everyone who was in it was very much enthusiastic, excited, very eager to try to come in and presented the best sense of themselves. And I think that's what really solidified their places in casting is that when you walk into an audition and you go in with the gusto of I am not just doing this for a role, I'm doing this to how to help make this project come to life, to help represent this character, and I want to have fun, and if you allow me to have fun, I could be the perfect voice. And they did. They had a lot of fun with these characters. They're all very diverse. You can easily tell that each of them will hold their weight and make these characters so much more lively within the production.
Yeah, I was gonna mention too, it's like when I was talking about dropping it from the shadows, I'd be like, surprise! You thought it was Robert, but it was me, Dio! But
Yo.
yeah, Jojo, there's your Jojo,
There it
Joe
is.
joke of the day. But
Second JoJo the reference. Let's go.
yeah, let's go. But yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you told me because it definitely was a lot easier for my part because I had to listen to all the submissions for that other thing, Furious 5, which yeah, there will be the announcements. It's gonna be coming out sometime in the next couple weeks or so, so I'm not gonna reveal anybody from there just yet. But for Solomon, I knew that I had to do this because I was like, look, this I feel like the process that went inside Solomon was like you said, you just wanted to make sure that they were distinctly like each of the actors had like this unique quality to them, whether it's vocal placement or just personality wise, and just really making sure that each of them have like like if William is not going to be the same as Marshall, who is not going to be seen from Haley or Adrian, and so on and so forth. And I I think the both of us were kind of like eye to eye on, yeah, I really think that they would be really great for this character. And that's why when I did the callbacks, I had to make sure that, it's just going to be very, very, very just because these are my babies. I just want to make sure that they got the special care and attention that they could get
Hmm.
before we get to yeah, before we get to the what do they call it? The manslaughter. Oh, before we get to the bloodshed, I guess.
The
But yeah,
bloodbath.
the bloodbath. Yeah, it's the the war. Yeah, I kind of okay for real though. I kind of wanted to commission an artist. I want them to draw like that meme where this dude is just looking. He has like the 1,000 yard stare where he's like, I
Yep.
wanted to, I wanted to be William as the other characters are just inside playing a game, and he's just like,
Yeah.
just like as this little meme. I know it's kind of become a meme, but at the same time, it's like, no, this isn't really too far off, honestly, with what we're doing for this. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do something like that, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's like we kind of have like very and like I said, it's so awesome that we just kind of settled on who our top choices were. And that's why when I did the callbacks, we were just like, actually, no, that I agree, perfect. So that's why when I went with everybody, they accepted and they were just so absolutely jazzed. Getting to talk with all of them, it's just been absolutely just incredible to me. Like particularly with Sean, Bell, Diana and Trina, like I said, because I've heard their work on a lot of different shows and projects, and getting to work with them at last is like, man, boy, it's kind of really interesting that I'm working with somebody who has been on, Digital Circus, JoJo, Zelda as Rivali, it's just kind of it's I'm pretty proud. I'm so proud of my cast.
Very much so. And I'm sure so they're very, very excited to work with you. Like
Exactly, yeah.
those four, like in particular, I love them all I love all of my roster to bits. But like those four are very much they worked their ass off, and I'm very proud of them
Yeah,
to be able to get
and we
in.
got I got some pretty stinking good auditions too, but in the
Oh
end of the
yeah.
day, man, it's just hard just picking one for
Mhm.
each character, you know.
That's why I sent you 5.
Yeah, that's why just send me the top 5 so I can listen to them thoroughly, do the callbacks, listen to the callbacks thoroughly, send them to you, and we just kind of settled. We just finalized everybody. Yep, it's done. It's over. Yep, we done cooked on this one.
And that's the fun bit where it's just kind of like I love it when clients are like we instead of making me cast, I was like, we just send us like a top 3 or a top 5. Like, oh thank God, oh thank God, I have to choose the one. That's not my responsibility.
Yeah, let's let Michaela do the dirty work.
But I mean, like, I'm very happy that we were able to get talents who are absolutely excited and put their
Stellar,
asses
yeah.
into the work. And so, like, yeah. And I mean that lovingly. So, like,
I mean, look, a lot of them have done, some of them have done horror type of stuff, so this is something that's kind of up their alley.
yeah.
But it's kind of funny that Trina would just go from like Nokotan to this. So those shows are like completely different in tone and you know, that one's an anime. This is kind of like indie animation and it's spoopy horror
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Actors, man, we get the job done.
Exactly. Man, let me tell ya. Boy, let me tell you, Bobby son, the way that these darn actors just audition, just shoot, man. They really be busting their butts off, I tell you what.
Oh, yeah.
That was the worst Hank Hill.
Listen, it's fine. We got the spirit there, and that's all that matters.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I've just been on a King of the Hill binge lately, so I
Absolutely.
just had to whip that out. So please kindly tear me apart in the comments below on what you thought of that Hank
No,
Hill.
give love, hearts in the comments, hearts in the comments.
I appreciate you. Yeah. But yeah, since we're kind of like in the month of June, I had a couple of questions that are pertaining to like, because I've asked this with other actors, but how would you say that finding your own identity was kind of like a major pivotal moment for you personally when it comes to career and just life in general?
Uh, well, I guess for my career, like I always knew I would be a creative. I've kind of, I'm at that age where I'm like, I'm never working a cubicle job. I'm never working a service job. I will never, ever, ever work to a degree of working with a manager who's going to tell me what the fuck to do because I'm so comfortable in my shoes where I'm just like, I would talk back. I would immediately start talking back. I would talk back my own moral senses. I would be fired from every single job that I would apply for if I don't have creative control over like what I can do. Mind you, this is not like if I'm working with a client, obviously the client comes first. But in terms of me and my own creative works, it's I've been so blessed to be able to have my creative freedoms and to be able to do what I want to do that I don't feel threatened and I don't feel even with the like the growing of like threat of and I'll say it like the growing threat of I am 10 tones down on the fact that I will continue to write until I die. The machines may come up, but I as a human being, as long as I have my hands, but even if I don't have my hands, if I have my mouth, if I have something that'll allow me to continue forward as a human being, creative world, then screw it. I'm going all in. And I will go in until I die. And that's for the career side of me, that's been a very big moment to be able to have that realization be like, you know what, no, this is my life. This is my worth and this is my work. In terms of my identity in the real world, like, are we pushing about like pride and like identity in that regard? Is that the question?
I mean, yeah, since you know June is this month, so
We love it. Everyone's legally allowed to be gay. I mean
I
that
mean,
is a joke.
I just
You
want
can
to,
be gay every day of the month. I'm just saying.
yeah, I'm just like because I know it's also Juneteenth, you know, I guess it's technically Black Lives Matter BLM month
But that should
because
be still every day, just like Pride. That should
exactly,
be
yeah.
every day. Um, but in terms of my identity, because for public knowledge, I am a demi woman. I fall under the non-binary spectrum. Essentially, I grew up mentally with the idea that I am a woman. I grew up with the chromosomes of being a woman. I grew up with the bodily anatomy to be a woman, but I have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And basically that means that my testosterone levels are high, my estrogen levels are low. And I grow facial hair, I grow hair where it's not supposed to be. I miss my cycles. It's a big process that makes you feel if you are a woman, that you are not a woman. And so I struggled with that for almost 20 years in silence because I grew up in certain ways faster than the rest of my peers, but I grew up in different ways from my peers that made me very much the laughing stock of even the gender that I was supposed to be. So me struggling with that, me struggling with the mental thoughts of like, maybe what if I was a man? What if I was not either? What is all that stuff? And coming to grips with the fact that I land in the middle. I land between the ones and zeros. I land somewhere where I can grab both by the horns and just be like, no, this is okay for me. Um, that's been a harrowing but rather enlightening experience to know that not only am I not unique in this regard because there are 1 in 10 women that have PCOS, but the fact that there are so many people out there willing to explore their identities and willing to understand that gender is not binary, that gender is very much you can freely go from one to the other and be happy as long as you're happy within your skin, as long as you feel at peace, then that's all that matters. For me, I found it to where I've embraced my more masculine side as well as my feminine side, where I do appreciate the feminine features I have, which is make me a demi woman rather than a demi person or a fully non binary. But there are days where I go spread leg on the chair, or like I wear baggy clothes, or I'm more masculine, and I'm just like, dude, I need a beer, things like that. So yeah, being able to explore all of that is just it's still a process I'm going through, but I think I'm rather comfortable in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for me personally, because I know for June, me being an African American, with Black history and so on and so forth, like I still remember the awful day when we lost George Floyd and just seeing all the protests and everything is just still it's very much is a very very global issue even to this day. So that's why for all of my fellow African American, my BIPOC, LGBT, like all the folks out there that are just going through difficult seasons right now, because I know, like, look, right here in LA, it is pretty crazy. So my heart definitely goes out to everybody that is just, being unfairly just going through horrific stuff with like the ICE and, so on and so forth. It's just one of those cases where, somebody in position of power, let's say, would just abuse it and, just think that like, oh, people are just trying to live their lives that they're just going in peace. But apparently, you know, the government doesn't think so. And that's why it's just so important that we really raise our voices and just create stuff, just make art and we escape and let it just shine. And if somebody is bright, like if somebody has a smile on their face after seeing one of your silly little like content or videos that you did, then hey, I know you're definitely doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also too, like, cause growing up as a non-denominational Christian, just being a guy, a person who is very much a faith. Like I just know that for God is all of us are brought here on this earth just to make a difference or just be the light or just be the change we that is in the midst of this really dark, broken world. And whether it's through writing, acting, whatever gifts that He has blessed you with, we shouldn't just waste it and we shouldn't just live our lives just in fear or just in uncertainty. Like he wants us to go out there and be the
Hmm.
change that the world just really needs right now.
Exactly. I mean, I'm also a Christian of non-denominational non-denominations. The biggest lesson that I've ever learned in the Bible has always been to love thy neighbor as if you would love God. And so
Exactly, amen.
it's exactly you have to learn to love each other because we were put on this earth for a reason. We decided to accept free will. We decided to live amongst each other. So why turn that to hatred when you can turn that to love and you can turn that to being able to hold each other up to the sky and to hold each other up in love and appreciation for what we can do for each other and in creative world and enjoyment and happiness. So yeah.
Yeah. And what would be the best piece of advice you have for everybody, all the communities that I just mentioned that is going through just these really tumultuous times this
I think,
season?
yeah, the biggest advice, honestly, that I would give is to be there for each other. It's really hard when you feel isolated. That's when we're all isolated, that's when the biggest fears come around, where we start to doubt ourselves, each other, the world around us, reality. And that's the scariest bit. But when we reach out for each other, when we help each other get back up from when we've fallen, or even when we do stuff like this, make creative, funny stuff for the internet, then when we become those little outlets of just joy and happiness, support, relief, that's when you remember your humanity. And that's when you remember how you can find the strength to help one another in different ways. I still, to this day, am very, very thankful for a lot of fan messages I get saying that Seduce Me saved my life, that that you as Sylvana made me feel so much more comforted as a mother figure. And it's the little things that you do, whether you are a creative like me and you, Robert, or like even if you're just a fan watching this stuff, or even if you're not even part of the creative field where you're working at 9 to 5 just trying to struggle and survive. The best thing you can do is to reach out in your own way, in your authentic way, whether it be going out to those marches in support, or if you're at home trying to survive, doing what you can to make sure that your family is safe, your loved ones are safe, that they have someone to speak to or someone to rely upon. It doesn't have to be financial, it can just be emotional, mental. And if you're not ready for that, I know, because I know people, there are some people that are very exhausted, very tired, very like, I don't know what I can do. Just being there and letting others' voices be heard, and you amplifying that with social media, or even just telling your friends or just telling your family and being in support of them, is more than enough to remind yourself that you are human and we live amongst other humans who always need that support.
Yeah. I'm of the belief that, I pray every single day, all the time, when I wake up in the morning, whenever I'm working, or in the evening before I go to sleep, because I have so much to be grateful for. I'm just grateful for a house, bed, food, drink, like some water right here. Totally not sponsored.
Hey! Woo!
SpongeBob, but life. But yeah, yeah, there's just so much that I wanted to say. So I'm somebody that is always praying for whoever is out there, even if I don't really know the person. It could be a complete stranger giving something to the homeless. Just one act of kindness a day can really make a huge difference. And also, to touch upon what you've mentioned, whether it's taking action or just being the problem solver in life, it look a, a small act of kindness can really go a long way, because who knows, you might end up running into that individual that you've helped later on down the line. And yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
There might be, you just never know what God is gonna open a door or when he's gonna close a door. Pretty much is the bottom line here.
yeah.
Yeah. Since we got about 10 minutes or so left, if you were to give advice to younger Michaela about finding their, I guess, unique voice, what would you say to them and why?
To younger Michaela,
Yep.
stop being afraid. It's one of those things where when we're young, we always are worried, like, oh my God, what if I fall on my face? What if I don't do it right? And like, it doesn't matter. Put yourself out there. Do what you can, give your 100%. Don't hold back for anyone, especially yourself. When you put yourself out there 100%, you never know what will be put along your way, whether it be a blessing, a challenge, a wall that you have to overcome, or even just the reward you've been waiting for.
Amen to that. Yeah, so if you'd like to plug in your socials, the stuff that you can't talk about right now, and just self plug in, just sell out if you can.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, you all should be supporting this guy and Solomon Shrine. I mean, come on. That's what we're here for. Let's go. But if you are here and you are looking for me specifically, my name is Michaela Laws, aka the storyteller in the world of fiction for the VTuber side. You can find me at VA Michaela Laws literally everywhere. And then my website is michaelaamandalaws.com, where you can see all of my stuff, including all of the games and CDs that I've made, all of the voice acting credits that I have, my directorial awards, because I've won awards somehow for my directorial stuff. I don't know how, but I guess I did. I was one step behind Sesame Street. I was one step behind Sesame Street for an award. Just keep that in mind. And then my ASMR stuff. You can find my ASMR stuff on the YouTube side of A Couple of Voices, where you can see all my scripts. And if you like yaoi, there you go. I have to plug it. I'm sorry. Like, that's the main channel's biggest pull is the yaoi. But otherwise, yeah, that's what I can plug. But come on, y'all are here for Solomon Shrine and Robert Jackson. Let's be for real here. So you're here, support this man and support the project. Let's go.
Coming from the VTuber. Also support if you're into the VTubing stuff, you can also check out that site as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell I'm just still kind of like a baby when it comes to this VTubing stuff?
I promise it's not that deep. It's literally an anime character. That's all it is. You're speaking to an anime character.
For sure. Yeah, this just shows what I'm doing with my life right now. But yeah, any final thoughts? Because you've really cooked up some really good advice. What is something that you want to close this out on?
I guess the best way to close this out on, and to tie this into the themes of Solomon Shrine, because that's what this is about, is that regardless of what comes your way, even if you're going into it with fear, even if you're going into it with the most easy, lackadaisical mind you can think of, regardless of what comes your way, always go in at 100%. Always go in knowing that there may be a lesson to learn. There may be a challenge you'll have to overcome. There may be something that's in your way that's going to literally beat your head with a rock and go, I am here, listen to me. And when you go at it with hesitation, you're not doing yourself any favors. So go at it with gusto, go at it with 100%, and go in it learning that it could be a learning experience, it could be a rewarding experience, or it could be a teachable lesson that can tell you something new that you can either adjust in your life or that might just open you up to more ideas or more perspectives and things. So always go at something with 100%, even if it scares you like the kids are going to be scared at Solomon Shrine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, y'all, trust me. Y'all, we're going to be in for a treat. That's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, and if I were to close this out with anything, just the Boondocks quote, Granddad, what do you do when it feels like you want to do something, but you can't do anything? I might be misquoting again. And recipes, Witherspoon, you do what you can.
You do what you can.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. That's the best closing I've got, even though I'm notoriously bad with outros and what have you.
I think that's a solid one, so.
Yeah, for sure. And I like to do this fun little thing where, like, I have the guests say the outro, like, hey, my name is Michaela Laws, and I've done da-da-da, and this is Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson, and also showcase a little bit of their singing in there, because...
Oh
yeah,
what's the title of the podcast again?
Sorry, Solomon Shrine Podcast.
I'm like, wait, what? Okay, yeah, so you want me to sing something?
Yeah, sing, just do normally, just whatever. It's, just be spontaneous.
Great. Okay, my name is Michaela Laws. This is the Solomon Shrine Podcast with Robert Jackson, and we're gonna be big and loud. It's gonna be big and loud. When they fall, they'll really fall, and they're gonna fall big, and they're gonna fall loud. And I probably should wrap up because you're ready to wrap this up. Big and loud.
Woo! If there was an audience, we'd be cheering and clapping and going all on the way. Let me see. Do I sing an outro?
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Thank you for joining Solomon Shrine. Stay tuned next time, if you dare, with Robert and Michaela. Woo! All right. Yeah, but anyways. Oh, actually, I know the perfect way to close this out. Thank you, foolish mortals, for joining us on the Solomon Shrine podcast. Now, please take your exit and remember, play for your life. Bye bye.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Okay, yeah. So I knew I was gonna forget something, but congrats to SAG-AFTRA and the not whichever for completing the strike. So that way, prayerfully, it's finally over. But yeah, this is a big win for us. Thank you for supporting actors and not AI, robots, technology, and what have you. And stay hydrated, stay awesome, and stay cool out there, my lovelies. All right, I guess that's the little post credit, whatever. To close this. Anyways, love y'all. Play for your life. Peace. Bye bye.